Hey, right, today I'm going to talk to you about diagnosis. I have got a few notes here, so if you keep seeing me look down, that's why. So my diagnosis was far from straightforward. Um, Previously in the past, I got diagnosed with depression. I got labelled as like someone that's aggressive and nasty or a problem child and stuff like that. Uneducated as well, because growing up I had no qualifications whatsoever. Like up until I went to uni in my 30s, I had nothing, not even a GCSE. Um, so a lot of my behaviour was put down to lack of education, being a bit stupid, being aggressive, and having depression. My actually the backstory to my diagnosis is actually my daughter's diagnosis. So she struggled a lot. I mean, in her teens, her symptoms really displayed, and it was really difficult. And that sort of came to a head when she was like 15, going on 16. And I mean, she'd been to CAMS a lot, which is the local child, adolescence, and mental health service. And she was seen under quite a few therapists. We had family therapy at one point and a few bits and bobs like this, but nothing was helping. It was getting worse and worse and worse, to the point where just before she was 16, she actually got sectioned. Um, it was one of the hardest times of my life because I had to insist that she was sectioned, and I felt awful. But I'm like, if she doesn't, she's not going to live to see tomorrow, and I'd rather feel awful and have my daughter tomorrow than not have her at all. So she spent about 7 weeks in the child mental health hospital in Oxford, and there they diagnosed her with emerging borderline personality disorder, because under 18s cannot be diagnosed with personality disorders because it said that the personality isn't stable enough formed yet to get personality disorder, so it's always emerging. When she did turn 18, it then was borderline personality disorder. So obviously I was in and out, seeing shrink, seeing all the stuff going on, seeing like CAMS and what sort of therapy she needs and everything. And I was going through a very stressful time. I was really, really struggling. So I was in and out of the doctors trying to get help with my own mental health. And eventually I got referred to a mental health nurse. Kelvin, my 3-year-old, he was only a tiny baby at the time, pretty much just a babe in arms. So I was seeing the mental health nurse. She then referred me to a psychologist to get my diagnosis. Unlike some conditions, personality disorders have to be actually diagnosed by a mental health, designated mental health worker. They can't be diagnosed by a doctor, or like depression can, or anything like that. So when I did get my diagnosis, I was told it's EUPD, unstable, emotionally unstable personality disorder. Sorry. And I've since realised, I mean, the doctor made out like, it's BPD, but it's a new, better way of labelling it. And it just turns out, with more research that I've done, is that a lot of psychologists don't like to diagnose with BPD. Some of them prefer things like EUPD because BPD has a lot of stigma attached to it. And yeah, so for example, at one point I had counselling with a charity called Olive Branch. Because of my diagnosis, I had to wait even longer to see a therapist, because it had to be a therapist that's got more specialised skills if you've got DPD. I have heard stories of people having to pay more money if a therapist finds out you've got BPD. So in my experience, the most stigma I've had with BPD is in the mental health service itself. And you go there for help and then you get demoralised a bit more. It's like, great, yeah, get fucking in there. But that's the way it goes. Yeah, so some people know this, some people don't. There's like 3 classifications of personality disorder. You've got cluster B, a cluster A, cluster B, and cluster C. BPD falls in a cluster B diagnosis, and pretty much all the others are very undesirable personality disorders. So you get histrionic personality disorder, there's narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and there's another personality disorder. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but that's all in that same classification. So even just seeing that, it makes you feel a bit shit, doesn't it? You're like, oh, great, yeah. Whoopee. But anyway, actually getting the diagnosis took from probably, I must have been 13 when I first started displaying my symptoms, even though I was very good at keeping it hidden. And then I was 38, pretty sure 38 when I got diagnosed. So, and I had a lot going on at the time. My daughter, a new baby, everything else. It was difficult, but it has helped. Not everyone. Some people say they don't want to give a diagnosis because it makes people live up to the illness or things like that. Same with like learning difficulties as well, with like dyslexia. Or they don't want to label them because otherwise it'll mess with their confidence and stuff like that. And I personally think it's bullshit. If I get diagnosed with something, you can then learn about it, understand it, and move on. But yeah, so there you go. But it can help, it can hinder. For me personally, knowing what's wrong with me, even when I got diagnosed with dyslexia, it was like, that makes sense. So my dyslexia is not visual, it's acoustic, so I can't process sounds in my short-term memory. So to find that bit of information out actually enabled me to make differences to my life. And it's the same with BPD. Now I know what's wrong with me, I can find the best treatment and hopefully mend my madness. Right, I'm going to go now, and then next time hopefully I shall be talking about treatments and what treatments I found. And it's not pretty because mental health system's like falling apart as it is, but we shall try. Okay, bye.